Hello, this is Warspite the Wargamer. It's May 2025. I'm reporting on the DICENI Games and Wargames show which was held a week ago in Norwich, the county town of Norfolk. I've been there twice before. It's a nice little show, very friendly, good atmosphere, and what you're about to see is my show report with a couple of corrections.
Right, it's May of 2025. I'm here in the middle of Norwich and I'm at DICENI, which is held in the main library building stroke BBC studios here in Norwich town centre, city centre. Very, very busy event. In fact, I think it's busier than last year. And I've delayed a few hours coming up. So let's see what we got. We've got trench offensive over there. What looks distinctly like a Zulu war game taking place there. We've got the pith helmets and their head rings on. That looks very Zulu war. And then round here we've got a variety of tabletop games. And through the gallery and auditorium over there, if they follow the usual practice, there'll be more things through there. This is DICENI, which is the Norwich Games and War Games Show 2025. Again, filming at DICENI, we're up on the balcony. Nice aerial view of one of the tabletop games, which I'll get to in a minute. I'll go down there and ask them what they're doing.
First correction of the narrative. I'll refer in a moment to Lego. There are no Lego products on this table. The Blitzkrieg guy was quite emphatic. Everything you see here was manufactured by Blitzkrieg and not by Lego, the well-known Danish company.
Both games look really fun, don't they?
Right, now down at low level. As described, the first table we've come to is Blitzkrieg, and sure enough, it's very, I would say, Lego orientated. The buildings are very much Lego style. It does appear they make their own vehicles and tanks.
I think me and Lewis might have a little game. Yeah. If you can help us. Yeah, I can help. Do you fancy German or British?
I don't mind either way.
If you're there, I'll go on there. Alright? We've been filmed as well.
Yep. I'm Warspite the Wargamer.
Sorry?
I'm Warspite the Wargamer.
Warspite the Wargamer. I'll check that out.
Enough one.
So you've got 3 units left.
So we're down with the new Buckingham historical wargamers, and they are doing Boudicca, that's Queen Boudicca's last battle. This was the major one where she was defeated somewhere up the Watling Street A5 area. And they're doing it in what appears to be 28mm. Story goes that the Romans stopped them in a narrow valley and then pinned them back against their own wagon lines. Can't see a wagon line here. Can't really see the valley, so I think it's not quite following the account. But still, very nice figures.
I consider getting rid of the archers.
Going for a close-up. Let's see if we can go in for a close-up even more.
I'll take this forward.
I've attacked you in the flank. I've got someone to use this one in the flank.
There's your Romans just there. Got a ancient British flanking force coming in there. And what looks like a little bit of auxiliary cavalry on that side. Possibly some auxiliary infantry as well. So nice figures, but not necessarily following the Roman account of the battle.
And second correction of the day. New Buckingham later explained to me that this is a cut down version of the game due to limits on table space, and the full game does feature the valley as described by Roman writers and does feature the ancient British wagon train which the Britons were pinned against. So this, as it were, is Watling Street light.
I took out a good chunk.
Right, another view from this side. Again, this is the new Buckingham Wargamers. Huge ancient British horde, war bands, etc. streaming up from this side. More coming in the flank here. And over there, you've got the main Roman battle line. Get you a close up on the command group. Over there. And again, off in the distance, there appears to be some action between Auxilia. Yeah. Principal mounted troops in the ancient British at this time were chariots, but they did also use light cavalry, and I'm not seeing any light cavalry here. It's just chariots and infantry.
There's a minor victory. They got 2 kills.
So this is new Buckingham Wargamers at Boudicca's final battle. Right, I've just had one final word with the new Buckingham guys. Apparently this is a cut down version. The real battle is actually some 3 times wider than this, and that's why they couldn't deploy the proper hills and the wagon line behind that the ancient Brits got cut behind. So as it were, this is the Boudicca's last battle light. Now they've explained that to me, it makes perfect sense, but it always pays to ask. Right, I was right about the Zulu War, and in fact this is a 54mm skirmish, and what they're doing is the death of the Prince Imperial. He was the son of Napoleon III and great nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte, and he was carrying Napoleon Bonaparte's sword when he was killed by the Zulus. Story with him is that he wanted desperately to get in and see some fighting. He'd actually been based at the Royal Artillery Academy in Britain after Napoleon III fled from France after the Franco-Prussian War. Unfortunately, he got himself killed.
Hit on number 2.
So returning to this end of the game, I should point out the game is being put on by Aftermath. Aftermath are the hosts of DICENI. And just over there on foot, that is actually the Prince Imperial himself, killed in the real action. Apparently he carried on fighting until they brought him down with throwing weapons, etc. And then he was stabbed to death with the weapon that we call the assegai, but which the Zulus actually call the ikwa. Ikwa being the noise it makes when you pull it out of someone's stomach. Nasty old weapon. So this is Aftermath, the hosts of DICENI, and this is the death of the Prince Imperial in 54mm. Those who don't know their Zulu terminology, the village here is called a kraal, and this dry water course over here is called a donga. So a wadi in North Africa becomes a donga in South Africa. An adjacent table, we've got the Durham Renegades, and it is gladiator, as in gladiatorial combat. Variety of different characters with different powers and weapons, etc. I do like the Colosseum effect they've achieved. Even up to Emperor up there giving the thumbs down. So this is Durham Renegades. Durham Renegades doing gladiatorial combat. Rather stylishly, I've got to say. I don't often report on the traders at the big shows, but the smaller shows here you can afford to, especially with the up-and-coming traders. This is terrain by hand. selection of their wares, etc. Thank you. Selection of their wares. Someone just walked through me shot. Yeah, selection of their wares. And I've got to say, some very nice models. Very nice models. So this is terrain by hand. Variation from what looks like fantasy medieval, Tatooine, Star Wars, and then heading more towards Dungeons and Dragons, etc. So it's terrain by hand. Right, out of the main hall we have a one bold studio presenting Fate of Witches, which appears to be a card-driven. Which appears to be a card-driven fantasy game, etc. That's One Bold Studio, One Bold Games, and yeah, got some of the cards here. Cards and tokens, and there's their sign. So if you want to check them out, join the coven. That's Fate of Witches, One Bold Studio. It's Garden 55 Crafts, makers of Card Kitty. Again, selection of stock there, up to there, across to here. Member of staff waving at me, trying not to react to the camera but doing it fabulously. So that's Garden 55 Crafts. Not straight wargaming, but vaguely related, shall we say.
I just turned one because I needed something. I feel like it should. Yes.
You know, Card Kitty, playing card holder. That's nice. I would imagine the playing card holders would be very handy for the disabled.
Yes.
Yes.
Apparently that's where they got the idea. A lot of their friends need two hands
Yep.
to be able to sign language.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, good idea. So if you're hand limited, interesting way of holding your cards up. I like that. Right, we're here with the Coltershall Cowards, and they're doing a Wars of the Roses battle in 28 millimeter. Very nice figures. Got some wild Irish there under James Butler, Earl of Wiltshire, heading for what looks like one of the Yorkist commanders. Decent ploughed field out over there. Major river behind. And you've got Tudor flags, you've got Percy flags here. They've sort of thrown the history book out a bit and just doing a sort of nice setup game, which I really like. And which rules are you going to be using? Which rules? Which rules are you using?
Tested resolve.
Tested resolve rules are being used. Someone's got a copy of them over here. Here we go, tested resolve. Being waved at me, and that also includes scenarios. David Knight and Tim Cooper. Right, so that's the Coltershall Cowards here at DICENI. Very, very nice 28mm game.
Further correction from me, but this time not my fault. The Coltershall group had unfortunately got their map the wrong way round. It was meant to be the Battle of Mortimer's Cross, and I'm thinking I'm standing behind the Yorkist army. In fact, they put the wrong army against the river. Of course, modern interpretation now, it swings the entire battle through 90 degrees. Check out the Wikipedia page Alignment Controversy section. But basically, they now think that the battle was fought north-south, not east-west, and Edward IV was not backed up against the River Lug.
Bricks Creek, that's about it so far.
Right, I'm going to do a second shot from this side. This is the Culture Shock Cowards. We're now standing behind the Lancastrian lines. Got James Butler, Earl of Wiltshire, surging forward over there. And then we've got a variety of well-known Lancastrian commanders on this side, including a couple of Tudors. Right, we've got Sphere, workstations, storage racks and transit cases. Sphereproducts.co.uk. Whole selection of tools, equipment. There's their racks over there. There's their racks over there. And then we've got even more on.
Just don't need that, you know. It's just, I mean, I like doing shows. I enjoy going, as a punter, I quite like trading.
I mean, that's a nice paint rack.
Yeah, but
I get the impression these drawers actually pull out. And if you've got a lot of paints, how about that one? Nice. Right, we have another local company here. It's Form Sin Designs, also known as models and minis.co.uk. They're actually based not far from Norwich at North Walsham. And there's a selection of their figures. I'm sure you can check out their website. Nice scale, sort of very heroic 28mm, more like 32, and then some very, very nice, larger fantasy figures, which I assume are, these are all your own designs, yes? You license? Right. Okay, I've just been politely corrected. That's actually for Mycin Designs. Yeah, if you're going to stick a devil's head in as a letter, it's going to cause me, old gits like me, confusion. So it's for Mycin Designs, and they're basically a printing service. You can come to them with your own CAD files, or they have their own licensed CAD files, and they can produce these. Based in North Walsham, which is Norwich area, not far away.
Just had Easter and just didn't get back into it.
And we're going to swing along.
This summer again, we'll have to take it back up again. But
all scales, all types. No, it's all right.
You're right.
You carry on.
Yeah, but we're heading
all scales, all types.
Yeah, we'll see you there.
Yeah, we'll probably see you there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we actually got turned away.
So it's for Mycin's design.
Got two desks. It's like, would you like one?
Right, another game being run by the hosts, Aftermath, and this appears to be a Mech Wars type game. Lighting here is a bit patchy, but I'll do my best. Very nice figures. I've just worked out what scale this is. If that's infantry scale, blow me, that's a big monster. Okay. Never quite gone this way before, but in this type of wargaming. But having seen some of the movies featuring large mechanical watsits, I'm now starting to appreciate the scale shift. Yes. So we've got what appears to be a landing pad this end. And a variety of larger mechs here. An oncoming force, including that large one I was just behind over there, big attack mech, various tanks. And troops that appear to be riding some sort of bicycle glider thing. So this is, again, it's our hosts, Aftermath. and we're now deep in the realms of Mech Wars. Right, over at this stand here, we have various little knickknacks being organised by a company or group called Trinkets. That's Trinket with a Y on the end. And the young lady who's just gone and hidden up that end is the one I spoke to last year who was wearing a very hot costume. So there she is. So just let you know, people do turn up here twice. And she's running Trinket E. Little knickknacks for the children and the young at heart. And they're also running a Wheel of Frogs game with a chance to win a frog. They guarantee you get one every time. It just varies on which one you get. So that's last year's Happy Larper, and she's happy larping today. Right, off in the realms of the First World War, we have Trench Offensive. Great war-inspired trench combat skirmish war game, and this is being laid on by Pandy Man, who also have a stall here. And what we have here is a, oh yes, I've seen them before. That's a World War I tank, the famous rhomboidal British tank. We invented the tank, but the French managed to invent the rotating turret, which makes it far more useful. And this is a trench system for their game, Trench Offensive. And over here is the setup I saw last time, featuring a crashed Sopwith Camel and some very nice trenches. Last year, that's the crashed Camel. I presume that anti-aircraft gun there got it. And you've got this wonderful detailed trench system which the figures can then fight over and around, lobbing hand grenades and doing beastlies. And apparently they're now doing a travel version. The travel edition of Trench Offensive, £45. So yeah. And then just next door, the Inky Gauntlet. Oops. I hope that's not a member of the staff. And they're mostly doing art and some very interesting hand silkscreen t-shirts. So that's the Inky Gauntlet. Complete change of subject. Star Wars Shatterpoint.
Yeah, he's got rid of that. He can't go in the fight. Yeah, when you see
interesting set of buildings. Fairly simple terrain. Looks like it owes a little bit to most sci-fi or fantasy skirmish games. But the guy's done some very nice figures over there, which I'm about to go over and try and get close-ups on. So yeah, so this is Star Wars Shatterpoint.
Which does normally come on.
Right.
I mean, if you want me to move it.
No, it's all right. But I'm on live sound now, so anything you say is going to pick up. Right.
Okay, so these are models that I've painted.
Right, I'm trying to do a dialogue quick. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So again, I'm at the Shatterpoint table. And these are close-ups of some of the very nice figures this gentleman, who's got a long tradition of figure painting, has done for us. Very, very nice models. Swinging over to there. Yep. And over there. So this is the Shatterpoint, Star Wars Shatterpoint game. He's not promoting it, he's just here playing it, as it were, and telling everybody about it.
I like the painting.
Yeah. There's some. Right, final shot here of the Star Wars Shatterpoint figures. Very, very nice. It depends on how close I can get in, but I'm going to try. Thank you very much.
No worries.
So, Vigo wanted to glue it back in, didn't he? Glue it in, and he went, no, you need to go see the shooting.
I was pretty certain it happened here. Anyway, I might be wrong. Anyway,
Lord of the Rings trivia is pretty
I'm now on live sound. I'm now on live sound, right? So we're now on a Middle-earth strategy game, Lord of the Rings, and it's being presented by the Norfolk Hobbits. Right. 28 mil. Are these the Warhammer figures?
Yes, these are the Middle-earth strategy battle game miniatures.
Yep.
They were painted by me.
Lovely. This is Amon Hen, the separation of the Fellowship. And this is the Norfolk Hobbits. Right, I have mentioned these good people before. It's Slice and Dice, the board game cafe and bar here in Norwich. Despite living just down the road, I've never actually been in. I've got to go in one day. Independent board game cafe and bar, nice food, nice drink, then they're even licensed. They've got a selection of games on show today, mostly for sale. But other times I've been here and they've done demonstration games. If you go back to my DICENI 2024, they put on several demo games, showed the range of what they can do. So this is Slice and Dice, the board game cafe and bar. And I won't photograph them while they're eating their lunch because I'm sure they're quite hungry. So Slice and Dice, board game cafe and bar.
Final correction, these are not Lego products. The company were quite clear, everything on the table is manufactured by them and them alone.
I was here earlier on, this is the Blitzkrieg game. Clearly derived from Lego, but of course it does mean you can pull the buildings apart, destroy them and then put them back together in afterwards. The company manufacture a number of their own vehicles. Lest my eyes deceive me, those are meant to be Panzer IVs. And when I was here just now, there were some Churchills. I'm going to go and look at the stock on their stand. Right, this is the Pit Gaming Shop. They're based out of Boreham Wood in Hertfordshire, where the studios are. But they're here today in mass. They are online and trade both from their own website as the Pit and also through eBay. Large selection of stock. Something for all periods and all tastes. There you go. And that's the Pit Gaming Shop. And their UK representatives for Mantic, KR Multicase and O'Malia. So that's www.thepitgamingshop.co.uk. You can hardly see it on there. Right, Warlord Games, of course a familiar name on the British scene. They've got a very nice winter scene, looks like Bastonia, and then a big stall behind featuring a lot of their stock, all boxed, very comprehensive and spreading around to there and beyond. Right, this is the other end of the Warlord stand, swinging around here, stay one step ahead of the customer, and we're all the way around to their Victory at Sea range over here. So something for everybody here today from the Warlord game stand. Right, this is a game about cute comical creatures and trying to identify them from the noises they make. Wee whimsical creatures, and we're going to pan down here, have a look, quite a wide variety, and yeah. So here we are again at DICENI. We're at the Dice Average RPG stall. Interesting concept, which we're going to come down to here.
The golden ticket, if you have one.
They actually write scenarios which could be used for your own games.
Number 75.
Dice Average RPG, also known as Artificial Jealousy. Yes. Have a word with them at artificialjealousy@gmail.com and see what they're up to.
Congratulations.
Interesting concept in artistic design, editing and production. Yep. Right, after a nice lunch, I'm back with Rok Minis. Nice selection of sets they do. This one is clearly themed on a well-known fantasy battle with Helm's Deep. Designs differ, but it's not bad. Then we've got what I would call a generic fantasy setup. Single army, 65 quid. Two armies, 110. These, of course, come unpainted. So they're supplied like that, and you do your own painting to taste. And then this one I saw last year. This is very much Mad Max territory. It's the Gaslands. Then we've got Move Over Shrek, Orcs. Looks vaguely derivative of a certain well-known something with K's in it. And then finally a more futuristic army. Army 65, two armies 110, armies and terrain 130. So for 130 they throw in the buildings, but again this is unpainted. And finally over here we're somewhere in the realms of about, I'm tempted to say this is about 10, 12 millimetre, but again fantasy. It's nice. I like the buildings. Yeah, interesting. So it's Rok Minis at DICENI.
6 inches. So yeah, so that'll apply. So he gets +1 arcane, so I get 3 cards. So 4 points.
Over here we have the Norwich Kill Team community. There. And what do we have? Kill Team! Yes. If ever I was going to get into Warhammer type stuff, this might be the level I went in at, sort of Kill Team level. Unfortunately, I'm rather disenchanted with the company due to the way it treats its staff, but that's another whole issue. So, Norwich Kill Team community here, and I think they're on the other side as well. A more unusual Kill Team scenario, basing it on an old Hulk driven ashore on a beach somewhere. Nice model, I like the rust. Good one. Good one.
It's very, very useful.
This has been a Warspite production. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a thumbs up. If you've really enjoyed it, please feel free to subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time. This is Warspite out, and have a very good day.